Why do some people in the child-free community have such toxic attitudes about it? Subreddits create echo chambers of people who spend lots of time online. You're not gonna see the normal child-free people there because they're living their normal lives and not making their child-free stance constantly known. I don't behave that way, but I know many who do, because when they initially expressed that they wanted to be child-free, they were met with an onslaught of people trying to change their minds. Some were men, women by force or trickery, such as poking holes in condoms, and as for myself, I'm infertile and cannot have children. And the amount of mothers that have excluded me and called me horrific things is astounding. Even when I express my wants to be a foster mom or adopt. I've been kicked out of mom support groups before for women who had miscarriages. I've had two, all because I cannot have my own children. So these women exclude people like me and say we are broken and we do not count. That might be part of it. Taunting functional bodies for not wanting to. Tricking them into it. And the reproductive gatekeeping. I feel like it's just a hard pendulum swing the other way after many child-free folks grew up in a society that pushed having kids as the most important goal in life, other than finding a person to be in a relationship with. I remember being dismissed, invalidated, and treated like I would change my mind one day when I would express my feelings on having kids. So I responded to that by fighting it with every ounce of my being, and therefore ended up really hating anything that had to do with children. I do feel differently now. But my point is, the extreme reaction was in response to the messaging from family and society that being child-free is not a valid thing to be, and that those who experience a desire for a child-free life are only going through a phase. It's backlash. Nothing more. People who don't want kids have been hearing, darling son, daughter, and perfect little angel, etc., coupled with harassment from family about making offspring to satisfy them. So it makes sense that amongst themselves, they would use gallows humor, verbiage like crotch fruit. IOW. Since the pro must have babies, people speak about children as divine gifts. The anti-side speaks about them as profane curses. I am interrogated on a regular basis about why I am child-free. I am talked to like I am a child, less of a woman, a moron, for the simple reason that I do not want a child. I am dismissed and ignored because of my choice. I am also forced to deal with children in every part of life. I do not hate children. I despise bad parents and the people who think I am less of a woman for not wanting babies. I mean, I've known a couple people who do it for financial reasons. Ever heard the saying, if you like money, don't have kids? There's also people who can't have kids, which is a lot more common than people think. And getting asked, why don't you have kids, all the time is a great way to remind them of past trauma. Or things like cervical cancer. To which, yay, I can't blame for forgetting snappy. It's not right, but I think it's part of an effort to push back on the idea that bringing children into the world is a universally wonderful thing that everyone should aspire to. There are all sorts of things that are wrong about thinking everyone should have kids just because. The two main ones being that the world is overpopulated and drastically under-resourced. And because having children just because it's the conventional thing to do rather than because you genuinely want them is a major cause of childhood trauma, neglect, abuse, etc. If you base your entire personality around something like that, then you're gonna end up acting like a twat. It's guaranteed. Maybe you don't care if they have a child or not. But maybe the people in their lives do care. And aren't kind about it. Doesn't mean they should be rude. But understand, not everyone is so understanding about not having children. Most cases, it's because of bad experiences with parents and children. While I agree it's a chaotic thing, often, parents like to enforce, "It takes a village to raise a child," on unwilling people. Many parents don't understand that their child is their responsibility. Repeated disturbances and bad experiences can make you really bitter about this. Both sides can be really toxic. I'm child-free myself, and while I don't use the terms like crotch goblins or breeders because I dislike them as well, most use them in their safe space of subreddits dedicated to that topic. A lot of it is venting and being annoyed at people not respecting the choice of being child-free. The same reason some parents have toxic attitudes. Every community has good and bad eggs. The bad ones tend to be the louder minority. Unless someone is CF, they really don't get it. We can't just mind our own business because society refuses to let us. When you're CF, your obligation to bear children is constantly shoved down your throat. Constantly. Child-free women are told they're not real women, that they'll never understand true love, that they're selfish, and that they're not part of a real family. We're pressured to care for other people's children because we're not doing anything important. We pick up slack at our jobs and are forced to work on holidays so real families can be together. We're constantly pressured about having kids and have to answer endless questions from family, friends, and even total strangers about why we won't just do it. We're told we're breaking our parents' hearts by refusing to give them grandchildren and ending the family line. We're told our sole purpose as women is to have children. We're told our choices are toxic for society. We're told we need to see therapists. We're told we're godless because religion tells us to procreate. We're denied medical procedures because we have a womb that could potentially hold a child. If you're someone who doesn't care if people have kids, thank you so much, but please understand that you're in the minority. People care a lot, and make sure to let us know. Can you understand why we sometimes lash out? I used to be like that many years ago. Personally, it was a reaction to how people treated and berated me over my choice and a rebellion against societal norms. So I acted out. Now I'm just child-free and happy about it. I don't hate kids. I'm just not interested in having any myself or engaging with others. But I can like children from a distance. For example, now in winter there's a snowy hill where I usually take brisk walks. Hearing kids cry with joy and laughter as they sled down the hill warms my heart. I usually stop and watch for a few seconds, but don't want to be seen as creepy. You probably don't notice the mean-spirited things people say in favor of having children. People make it seem like something you should do not just out of your own desires, but because you owe it to society. One time the cable guy told was asking my sister about having kids, then started trying to convince her that she's missing out. He even suggested that she should hurry because time is running out. This kind of stuff has been normalized for so long that a lot of people don't see that it's toxic. Or they just don't see any point in calling it out. Child-free folks are speaking from a place of frustration due to years of being pressured about having kids. Because parents tend to describe having children as the only meaningful way to live your life. And the vast majority of them doesn't accept that there are people that don't want to be bothered with their children. Every side has its extremes. I love being a parent, but I also know it's not for everyone. My best friend is child-free, but that doesn't mean she hates children. She just doesn't want kids of her own. I don't even join some parenting communities because of how extreme they are. In any large population there will be people who are well-mannered and people who are jerks. And we have 1.8 million members. No one knows for sure. I'm child-free, but I don't really feel the need to make parents feel bad for their choices. I think there's a lot of external pressure on people to have children who don't with them. And some people react to that kind of pressure by becoming jackweeds.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.